Hello and welcome. This presentation provides an overview of the City of Ann Arbor's Safe Streets for All program and will provide an update on the status and progress of this project and what will be coming next. My name is Oliver Kiley and I am part of the consulting team assisting the city with this work. As a bit of background, in 2021, the city adopted its Moving Together Towards Vision Zero comprehensive transportation plan, with the overarching value of improving transportation safety, expanding mobility choices, increasing accessibility for all, supporting environmental and community health, and enhancing regional connectivity. These goals are unified by the Vision Zero objective of working towards eliminating transportation-related deaths and serious injury. In 2022, Ann Arbor received a Federal Safe Streets for All grant, abbreviated SS4A, in accordance with the Safe System approach adopted by US DOT as part of the National Roadway Safety Strategy. This work will implement safety improvements across 18 miles of city roads, including 13 miles of identified high injury network streets, to reduce transportation-related serious injury and death. This grant program advances three key strategies from Ann Arbor's transportation plan: safety improvements at high crash locations, addressing dangerous behaviors, and implementing quick build treatments. The types of street changes being advanced by this program include safety improvements consistent with established best practices and that have been used and tested previously by the city. These include pavement markings, signage, and delineator posts that reinforce posted speed limits and lead to more predictable and consistent driving behavior, pavement markings that increase the visibility of different roadway users to each other, particularly around high conflict areas like intersections, pavement markings and delineators that indicate appropriate travel paths, such as hardened center lines that prevent unsafe turning, and paint and post bump outs and other features that tighten corners and slow turning speeds while reducing crosswalk distances for pedestrians. These changes do not include road diets or other changes that affect intersection capacity. Through the earlier phases of this project, 18 corridors totaling 22 miles were considered for SS4A funded improvements. Based on alignment with available funds, priorities, and in consideration of other roadway safety projects, this was narrowed down to 12 corridors totaling 18 miles, along with 11 key intersections along these corridors. Note that this map only shows the corridors and not the included intersections. Next, we'll talk a little about the project's process, timeline, and community engagement work. This project started in the fall of 2024. The project team selected projects to advance for implementation, and preliminary design plans were put together for agencies to review. We're currently working through the federal granting process to get projects ready for implementation. This includes finalizing the project design, awarding construction contracts, and then building the improvements. We anticipate that a portion of the designed projects will enter construction next year. Following construction, there'll be a year-long evaluation period to assess the impacts and outcomes of these projects. Engagement has been a critical component of the Safe Streets for All program. The focus throughout has been to build on the foundation established through the Moving Together Transportation Plan, as this established many of the strategies and priorities through extensive public engagement. For the SS4A program, and given the implementation-focused nature of the work, engagement is emphasized communicating with the community about the timeline and what can be expected in terms of physical street changes. The engagement process provides an opportunity for the public to comment on proposed design solutions, ask questions, and gain a deeper understanding of how the program works and its intended outcomes. We completed phase one of community engagement earlier this year. Engagement focused on educational and explanatory materials about the project. Virtual office hours were held, a project website was developed, and a survey was circulated. Some of the common survey themes included broad support for quick build treatments to address safety concerns, a desire for more transformative safety improvements on road corridors, and confirmation of public concern around safety on the corridors identified for improvements through this project. Next, we want to share more specific details about quick build treatments and speed management tools that are being deployed through the Safe Streets for All program and advanced into implementation. So what are quick build projects and why is this a key part of the SS4A program? Quick builds are street projects that utilize relatively lower cost treatments like pavement markings, signage, and surface mounted elements like delineator posts or rubberized speed bumps that are already used across the city. These treatments are cost effective and faster to implement compared to reconstructing the street with permanent hard materials. However, while less expensive, these treatments are still an investment and require funding for installation and maintenance. Let's look at the specific types of treatments being used in this program. First, and something that has been deployed elsewhere in the city, is using delineator posts in combination with bike lane buffers to create a more separated bicycle lane experience. The vertical elements provide better separation from cars and bikes, reduce encroachment into the bike lane, and the vertical elements serve as a speed management tool. In most locations where there is enough width for bike lane buffers, delineator posts can be added. The example shown here is from State Street, south of South University. Next is the use of bike boxes. Bike boxes are an expanded green area in front of vehicle stop bars at intersections. This area allows bike riders, when traffic signals are red, to get in front of cars waiting to turn left so that they can be easily seen by all travelers when it's time to go through the intersection. These treatments can improve the safety and comfort for people biking. The example shown here is at Maple Road and Dexter Ave near Vets Park. Along corridors with bike lanes, this treatment, intersection conflict markings, can be used to raise the visibility of bike lanes and cue drivers into looking out for bikes. These markings are bright green bars extending through intersection and in crossing areas where bike lanes traverse through the space. These can be used going through major intersections, at side street crossings, at bus stops, and even driveways. The example here is on Fuller Street near the Glen Ave intersection. The next treatment, called hardened center lines, used delineator posts or lane separators to reinforce the limits of the yellow center line at intersections. These treatments guide turning vehicles, particularly left turning vehicles, along a safe drive path that slows turning speeds and prevents cutting across the middle of receiving lanes. This improves safety for all roadway users. The example shown here is at Fuller Street and Glen Ave intersections. The last treatment are paint and post bump outs. This treatment uses colored or shaded pavement with new white lane markings and delineator posts to create an extended area at the corner. This treatment allows crossing pedestrians to be more easily seen around parked cars, shortens the effective crossing distance, and reduces the speed of turning vehicles. This can also prevent illegal parking or driving maneuvers at the intersection. These treatments are used where on-street parking or loading zones are present. The exact design will accommodate access in emergency vehicles. The example here is showing some of the paint and post bump outs along Washington Street downtown. For our last topic in the presentation, we will look at proposed project corridors and some of the specific recommendations. First is how we all arrived at the selected project corridors. These were all focus corridors from the Moving Together Towards Vision Zero transportation plan. Next, corridors are ranked based on their level of potential improvement, crash analysis findings, and the need score from the city's speed management framework. Projects were prioritized based on how many of these three criteria were met, and further refined through an iterative process that considered other construction work and capital projects and how improvements would tie into overall mobility networks, like the city's system of bike lanes. It's important to note that more locations were identified for improvement than there are available budgets to implement. As for the specific SS4A projects, this is the first page of the projects that are listed. And so I will walk through each of these briefly. Along Packard Street from State to Eisenhower, it's proposed lane narrowing, bike lane buffers with delineators, additional conflict markings, and paint and post bump outs on side streets. On Liberty Street from Maple to Main, there's a westbound bike lane, conflict markings, side street paint and post bump outs, bike boxes, and hardened center lines. On State Street from Granger south to Simpson, bike lane buffers and delineators, conflict markings, side street paint and post bump outs. On Maple Road from Dexter to M14, delineators will be added to existing bike lanes, conflict markings added, and side street paint and post bump outs. On Main Street from William Street south to Eisenhower, lane narrowing and addition of bike lane buffers and delineators, down to Ann Arbor Saline Road to Eisenhower, addition of delineators to existing buffered bike lanes, conflict markings, side street paint and post bump outs, and bike boxes at Stadium, Scioto Church, and Pauline. Lastly, on Plymouth Road from Maiden Lane to Green, delineators will be added to the existing bike buffers, conflict markings will be added, side street paint and post bump outs, and hardened center lines at multiple intersection locations. For the last set of projects here on page 2, we have Eisenhower Parkway improvements from Main to Packard. Well, there'll be lane narrowing, upgrades to the bicycle facility, median turnaround markings, conflict markings, and hardened center lines at multiple locations. On 7th Street from Scioto Church to Washington, delineators will be added to the existing buffered bike lanes. Conflict markings will be added, side street paint and post bump outs and bike boxes. On Scioto Church Road from Maple to 7th Street, delineators will be added to the existing buffered bike lanes. Conflict markings will be added, side street paint and post bump outs and bike boxes. On Pauline from Stadium Boulevard to 7th, delineators will be added to the existing buffered bike lanes, conflict markings will be added, side street paint and post bump outs and bike boxes. And then lastly, on Getty Street from Washington to Huron Parkway, conflict markings, side street paint and post bump outs, and hardened center line treatments. As we wrap up, this image shows a snip from the construction drawings for the proposed improvements to Packard Street between State and Eisenhower. This includes, for example, adding bike lane buffers and delineator posts, adding paint and post bump outs, particularly where side streets intersect Packard, bike lane conflict markings across intersection areas, and bicycle boxes. Additional details and information on the proposed projects is available through the Safe Streets for All program page on the city's engagement homepage. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about this program, and we look forward to hearing from you in the coming months. Thank you again.